All right, so this lesson is going to take our solving inequalities just one step further. So now we're going to talk about compound inequalities. So these are and or problems. Okay, so I've given you two examples of what your answers will look like at the very end of these problems. Okay, we're going to talk about how to graph them first. Okay, so here we've got -2 less than x less than 7. Okay. So before, I had you put 0 on your number line. I still want you to put 0 on there. Okay. Then we're going to put these two numbers on there as well. So you got -2 and you've got 7. Determine if they have open circles or closed circles. Okay, so both of these are closed circles, or sorry, open circles. Open circles. Okay, so this says -2 is less than x, which is less than 7. So basically, guys, we want the answers that are between -2 and 7. So my arrows are going to point towards each other. So for an and type of problem, my arrows should always point towards each other. Okay, then for an or problem, so same kind of thing, put 0 on there. We're going to put 1 and we're going to put 4. It is a closed circle on 1. It is an open circle on 4. You can have one of each. It's okay. So this first little piece says C is less than or equal to 1. Okay, so that means we're going to point our arrow to the left. This one says C is greater than 4. Okay, so that one we're going to point our arrow to the right. So this is an or problem, and the arrows point away from each other. So notice our arrows never point the same direction. They either point towards each other or they point away from each other. Never the same direction. Okay, so how you're going to solve these. So we're going to start with and problems first. Okay, so you've got your and problem. You're going to solve it almost like normal. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you draw lines down from your inequality signs. Okay, so then whatever you do in the middle column to solve for x, just like you would in a normal equation, you're going to do in the left column and the right column. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract 3. So we're going to subtract 3 there. We're going to subtract 3 there. So 1 minus 3 is -2. In the middle I have -2x. And then 19 minus 3 is 16. Then we divide by -2 on all of the columns, in all of the columns. Okay, so -2 divided by -2 is 1. I divided by a negative, remember, so then that means I flip my sign. Then I have an x in the middle. Flip that sign as well. 16 divided by -2 is -8. Okay, because this actually looks funny, right? Because -8's normally the smaller number. So we're actually going to flip this around. And we're going to make it look like it would on a number line. So then you're going to graph. So 0, you got 1, you've got -8. Determine open circles or closed circles. Okay, so these are both open circles. And since it's an and problem, they point towards each other. Let's try another one. So same kind of thing, bring your lines down. So I'm going to subtract 2 in the middle. So I subtract 2 on the left, subtract 2 on the right. -1 minus 2 is -3. You still have your -5t in the middle. 4 minus 2 is 2. Divide by -5. Again, dividing by a negative, we're going to have to flip our signs. So -3 over -5 does not simplify, so I'm just going to leave it as 3/5. Flip my sign, flip my other sign, and then 2 divided by -5 is -2/5. If you wanted to write them as decimals, that's totally fine. You're absolutely welcome to do that. Again, this is not written mathematically correct, so we have to change it. So then we graph. Graph over here. So you got 0, you've got -2/5, and you've got 3/5. Closed circle on both of them. And then And since we have an and problem, our arrows point towards each other. So that's how you solve an and type of compound inequality. The next two slides we're going to talk about or compound inequalities. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this one. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to kind of draw a squiggly line down there. You're going to solve each equation separately. So solve this first equation like you would solve a multi-step equation from the other day. You're going to solve the second equation the same way. And then you're going to get two answers at the end. Okay. So we're going to subtract 1. Get 3h is less than negative 6. Divide by 3. H is less than negative 2. Okay, that one's solved, so we're done with that one for a minute. So then this one I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Get 2h is greater than 12. Divide by 2. H is greater than 6. Okay, now here's where we're going to bring the two answers back together. Okay, so my answers are h is less than negative 2 or h is greater than 6. So then making my number line, 0, negative 2, 6, open circle on negative 2, open circle on 6. Since it's an or problem, they point away from each other. Okay, last or problem's a little bit more complicated. Okay, but again, draw that line down, solve each equation separately. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do 2g from both sides. So negative 6 greater than 10g plus 1. So subtract 1 from both sides. Negative 7 greater than 10g divided by 10. So negative 7/10 is greater than g. Okay, again, if you're one of those people that has to have the g come first, that's okay. You can just flip everything around. So g less than negative 7/10. All right, this one, subtract 8 from both sides. So you get negative 4 is greater than negative 2/5 g. And then we would divide by negative 2/5. So be very careful how you type that into your calculator. I divided by a negative, so my sign has to flip. And then negative 4 divided by negative 2/5 is 10. So now I've got g is less than negative 7/10 or g is greater than 10. So 0, there's my negative 7/10, there's my 10. Open circles on both of them. And we point away from each other with the arrows.